Donald Trump is more desperate than ever. Not just desperate to cover up his Jeffrey Epstein scandal, but desperate to do something he has failed at his entire presidency, to look strong. Trump wants to project power, but the truth is, he's weak. He failed on trade deals, he broke promises to end wars, and he failed on the central issue of his campaign, affordability. He hasn't delivered. And now, in a pathetic attempt to look tough, he's unleashing his thugs on Washington, D.C. This isn't about strength. It's a cover-up. It's a performance. And it's backfiring. Because instead of looking like a strong leader, Trump is melting down in real time, posting unhinged rants on Truth Social that we're going to break down in a minute. But before we dive into Trump's meltdown, we need to talk about someone who's standing up to him directly. A Democrat who triggered Trump with the truth. Jasmine Crockett. She's refusing to let his lies and attacks go unanswered, and it is driving him absolutely insane.
For everyone that's been asking, where are the Democrats? Well, here they are. For everyone that's been asking, where is the fight? Well, here it is. But let me tell you something. Don't leave them out on a ledge by themselves. They need to know that you, the American people, stand with them because they are standing for you. There's so many people that they will never meet, but they understand the importance of making sure that they have a voice when it comes to their government. They understand the importance of standing for what democracy is and making sure that it does not fall by the wayside. They understand that we have a Timu Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States. Well, I got another thing to tell you, sir. The Democrats, no matter whether we're talking about these Texas House Democrats, or whether we're talking about the governor from Illinois, the governor from California, or whether we're talking about New York, or I can go through the states and it's not just the governors. It is the state houses. It is the state senators. It is those congressional delegations that are saying, do what you got to do and I will fight and I will win and I will earn my seat back to the people's house in D.C.
So, it is no surprise that Jasmine Crockett is going to get under Donald Trump's skin. We knew this was going to happen. But the degree to which his freakouts over the brutal blows that Jasmine Crockett has delivered on him continue to escalate is just hilarious at this point. And all it is just projection from Donald Trump. Jasmine Crockett gets under his skin because he knows that she's right about how weak and ineffective that he is and how really stupid he is. Nothing upsets Donald Trump more than someone who is actually willing to punch back. It's the reason why he made one of his many crazy posts today about Jasmine Crockett. Then we'll check out what he's saying about the pushback in D.C. Trump wrote of Jasmine Crockett, "Congresswoman Crockett is a low, very IQ individual, much in the mold of the AOC +3 gang of country, destroying morons, only slightly dumber. Each of these political hacks should be forced to take a cognitive exam, much like the one I took while getting my physical at our great Washington, D.C. military hospital." As the doctor said, President Trump aced it, something that is rarely seen. These radical left lunatics would all fail this test in a spectacular show of stupidity and incompetence. Take the test. So, Donald Trump, a man in obvious cognitive and physical decline, is now claiming Jasmine Crockett is the one who needs her faculties examined. And why? Simply because she disagrees with him. That's the crime in Trump's world. But this is classic Trump. When he feels cornered, he lashes out and distracts. That's exactly what's happening as he unleashes Pam Bandy and his goons on D.C. The problem? D.C.'s crime rate has been dropping. There's nothing to fix. And let's not forget, Pam Bandy works for a felon. None of it makes sense. Naturally, this has sparked protests across Washington, and journalist Aaron Parnes broke down exactly what's happening on the ground. After that, we'll look at Trump's meltdown response.
We have some news right now. I'm here right in front of the White House minutes after Donald Trump announced a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. and a mobilization of the National Guard. Let me show you what it kind of looks like right now. So behind me right here, there is a protest growing right now. I would say there's a few hundred people there, but that's expected to grow even larger. There really isn't much of a police presence just yet. There's some officers around, but nothing too crazy. Now here, right in front of the White House, it's relatively quiet. No National Guard presence, no military presence at all. Very little law enforcement, no more than usual. Here's the thing, DC crime rate, violent crime rate, has fallen to a 30-year low. This is being done to distract the public from the actual news that's happening right now in the United States of America and the scandals the president is currently involved with. The moment I see National Guardsmen on the ground, I will let you know. I'm going to be filming all day, so spread the word, subscribe to my Substack at the link in my bio to support my work, and follow along for all the news you need to know about. Right now, quiet, massive protest brewing. We'll see what happens.
People are showing up. People are showing out. People are having their voice heard, and people are demonstrating that there is no need for Donald Trump to try to take over DC. This is an idiotic campaign pretending that he's keeping people safe, the opposite of which is true. I don't know who feels safe with drunk Pete Hegseth as our Secretary of Defense, but it's leading Donald Trump to meltdown. And we can see that in this post right here. Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of ruthlessly hurting innocent people are over. I quickly fixed the border. 0 illegals in the last 3 months. D.C. is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And honestly, that was just nonsense. A sloppy word salad. Nobody knows where Donald Trump is pulling these numbers from, but apparently we're just making things up now. That's the Trump presidency in a nutshell. A pretend tough guy forcing through an authoritarian agenda. And let's be clear, that's exactly what this is. If you're not willing to speak out against it, you're not a leader. You never were. Because this DC takeover isn't just some random stunt. It's one of the most public displays of Trump's authoritarian regime. But it's not the only one. Quietly, behind the scenes, similar power grabs are happening across the country. Rachel Maddow broke it all down perfectly right here.
Can narrow or widen the aperture as much as you want. You can look at the very big picture or the small local picture anywhere in the country. And we try to do as much of both of those things as we can every week here on this show. But whether you're looking at small-scale local stories or the biggest picture stories about what's happening in our country, the story is the same, and it is now an undeniable thing. We have crossed a line. We are in a place we did not want to be, but we are there. The thing we were all warning about for the last few years is not coming, it is here. We are in it. This is what it likes, it turns out. This is what it's like, right? It's August, it's a Monday, every day the sun rises and the sun sets, and there are, sports and movies, and there are new hit songs, there are scandals here and there are crimes. There's everybody's personal quotient of family drama and health worries and money worries and falling in and out of love and in and out of faith. Life has not stopped, and none of our personal lives have stopped. But also, at the same time, life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say it, I know. But just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms. Think in cinematic terms. Imagine the cartoon-level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. It's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unbadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding, but no identifiable leadership. And they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force. When you imagine an authoritarian country, right, what you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows and snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation, not letting them see lawyers, and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons, where they won't tell you who's there and where no one's allowed in to see what's going on. Right? And that kind of a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, the one you might have imagined. In melodramatic and cinematic terms ever before we got here, you would expect, right, that you'd have a scapegoated minority group blamed for all things. In our case, immigrants, right? And the new extraordinary powers and shows of force by the secret police, among other things. All these extraordinary powers and shows of force will be framed as necessary to stop this terrible internal enemy, right? Frame everything as immigration enforcement. Because for immigration enforcement, not only is all force justified, but maximum force is preferred. And they're trying to make it into a national entertainment to threaten to feed immigrants to alligators in South Florida. Right? They're making them eat off dishes on the floor, like they're dogs. The Chrome Detention Center in Florida. They want us to like that, right? The Republican Party wants to sell T-shirts about that. And if you think it's only about immigrants, take the president's own word for it when he says the homegrowns are next. And then he starts musing publicly about which Americans he intends to strip of their citizenship. I mean, in a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, displays of military might are not just for the country's external enemies. They're for the country's own people, right? Because in an authoritarian country, you turn military force inward toward the people of that country. And so now we've got these large and expanding military zones in multiple states where they have extended the legal boundaries of nearby military bases to include hundreds and hundreds of miles of nearby land. So they can give active duty U.S. troops the power to arrest and search people on U.S. soil. They are now doing that over hundreds of miles of territory in multiple states. Both The Intercept and the New Republic in the last couple of days have had new reporting about Trump administration plans to permanently integrate the active duty U.S. military into, of course, immigration enforcement. So we will have our own U.S. military troops mobilized on U.S. soil, U.S. military force turn inward on us in an ongoing and permanent way. For immigration enforcement, right? And like they tried in LA, to put down protests against the government, because those protests relate to immigration enforcement.
We need more Democrats speaking out against this takeover loudly and consistently. Gavin Newsom has warned that LA was just a test run. Now DC is the next example. And if you don't think Donald Trump would unleash the military on every American city to intimidate us, you haven't been paying attention. That's the larger plan. Every one of these steps is meant to scare people into silence, but it's our job to push back, and that's exactly what we'll keep doing here every single day. So if you want to support that work, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and if you made it all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I will see you soon.